Welcome to the 2022 Pathway Verification. So today you will be declaring the pathways that you want to receive at graduation. They will appear on your transcript. You will receive cords to wear at graduation. So this is the one thing you have to complete if you want to receive that recognition for pathways at the end of the school year. This form is due by February 4th. However, we recommend that you complete it earlier. And that way, if you have any questions, you can get them answered in a timely manner. Please read all the directions before starting this form. This form should look very familiar. It is similar to the Pathway Pre-Check form we had you fill out in the fall. However, this form you will need to fill out through your Ramtime Google Classroom. It is attached with your name, and this is the actual form we will be using to determine if you receive the pathways that you are declaring. So, one of the things you will have to do is look at all the different pages of this form. You'll notice that the second page here has examples, and then we have the actual pathways listed with each academy. This is where you will be highlighting the different classes in yellow. So you'll be completing that through all 4 academies. I suggest looking at each pathway. You may be surprised of pathways that you've completed that you didn't realize. This page here is probably the most important page at the very end of this process, because you will be highlighting, after going through each of those courses, which academy pathways you're receiving. If you are not completing any pathways, you will need to highlight letter A, that you're not completing any pathways. So any pathway that you've earned the 3.5 credits in, you will have to highlight that here, and this is where the verification committee will start. Also, if you've earned an additional 2.0 credits, that could also help with certain things. If you've completed a Warren Tech program, and I know a lot of you have been asking about exceptions. So there is an exception form at the bottom here that I will show you in a moment. And also, if you have any trouble, there is a Google form here that is linked, or you can email me directly at jtorey@jeffcoschools.us. The form is probably the easiest way to get hold of me. So before I show you the exception form, let's go ahead and look at some examples. So what you will need is every pathway, because of the pandemic, is worth 3.5 credits. Now, just to recall, a semester class is a 0.5 credit. A year-long class would be a 1 credit. Okay. If you complete multiple pathways within one academy, you will only get a single cord. You'll only get a cord for completing pathways in different academies, but if you complete, let's say, 3 pathways within the Health and Human Services Academy, you'll only receive 1 red cord. We have some things are a little bit generalized. So notice any business and marketing class, that could be intro to business, that could be international business, that could be sports marketing. Some of those things are a little bit bundled. If that is the case and you're not sure, does this count as a STEM elective class or a business class, things like that, you can look at the course catalog that is hyperlinked here as well. One important thing we wanted you to note before I show you the example is that you cannot use the same class as both a foundation and supporting section within a single pathway. However, you can use a class in multiple pathways. So if I'm looking at this humanities example here, if I used public speaking as a foundation credit, I cannot use it below in the supporting credit. However, I could use it in the other academy pathways. When you do fill out your pathways, please highlight the class that you're taking, and then notice we are also including the credits associated with that class. So public speaking here is 0.5 credits, and here I listed any AP Social Studies class. Notice I typed out what that class was, and again I included the credits with it. So below here is supporting 2.0 credits. Notice AP Language and Composition was listed as 1 credit, and then the broadcast production was 1 credit. And if you add this up, that adds up to the 3.5 credits. For those of you who are completing a Warren Tech program, your default pathway will be the Human Services pathway. Notice on the very top, it just says Warren Tech program. For this example, we used culinary. If you did a Warren Tech program that is more appropriate with a different pathway, we will honor that pathway. So for example, if you're doing video production at Warren Tech, we would give you the film and video production pathway and not a human services pathway. My other example here is the STEM Academy. The STEM Academy here is the Energy, Earth, and Environment pathway. Notice the foundation credit here was a chemistry class for 1 credit. They took Intro to Ag for 0.5 credits. And then the supporting, we have our medical forensic science, intro to computer science, public speaking, and safety and first aid. So all of your pathways do have to complete both the foundation and the supporting part of each, and they should add up to 3.5 credits. So you'll be completing that on each of these different Academy pages. And if you had done the pathway pre-check in the fall, you can copy and paste into this document as needed. And then again, at the very end, you're going to highlight which ones you have completed. And make sure you click Turn In on Google Classroom when you're done. Now here is the exception form. So exceptions really have to do with different ways that you show an understanding of that pathway. And we're really only granting exceptions if you need it for a first or second pathway. If this is an exception that you need for a fifth or sixth pathway, we're not going to go through the form for you. So an example of this is, let's say you're really interested in the Energy, Earth, and Environment pathway, and you weren't able to fulfill one of your foundation credits, but you worked as an intern on the trails and you did a capstone project related to that. That is an example of something we would grant an exception for. If you're not sure about an exception for, and you're not sure if you should fill out that form, please fill out the form to ask those questions, or you could just fill out the form and just see what happens through the pathway exception form. Either way, if you have any questions on this process, please let me know. Make sure you complete this in a timely manner and click Turn In on Classroom in order to receive those pathways. Thank you very much and good luck.